welcome to the program, folks. You're listening to Common Sense Radio with your host, the one, the only, the extraordinary AJ Davis. Okay, I lied about the extraordinary part. Okay, but it's me. Hey, it's July 23rd. Happy to be here with you. Got a jam-packed show. We're going to talk about a pretty rare phenomenon that's going on. There's about 220 families, mostly upper white class, progressive, that are committed to raising their children genderless. And they actually have a title for it. It's Theybies. And it's quite disturbing. As Matt Walsh pointed out in his article over the weekend, that this is a form of child abuse. And I actually believe it so. And I'll lay that picture out for you. But first, I want you to go over to lumberlax.com, support my friends over there. I want you to support my friends on Facebook, Beal's Custom Engraving and Laser Printing. He's working on something big that next Monday, you might get a little pre-release early in the day, but something that for the first person, maybe two, we'll see how it goes, first one or two people that invite people to like our Facebook page, and that's Common Sense Radio / and Beal's Custom and Engraving. I will send out the Facebook pages on that. The first two people to get between 5 and 10 people to like our page from their invite, we will have a little gift for them. We're just trying to get the word out. Do me a favor, like, share, engage. I love engagement on the Facebook page. And Twitter. You can follow me on Twitter at Oregon Redskin or on Instagram at AJAYD503. And I love engaging in there. Again, a lot of feedback on the way that I'm going now. Still working on some things for the future. I have the YouTube channel going as well, and I like to share that. But the main source that I get pump the information out is via Facebook. So please check that out. Back to the Theybies. Theybies, it's a family out of Massachusetts, Cambridge, that has twins, and they're raising their children to not know if they're a boy or girl, and that's, as the parents, Nate and Julia Sharp, have described, is it's under a lock and key. Okay, so you got their underpants under a lock and key. No one can see it. No one can see anything. They don't know. Okay. Huh. To me, this is absolutely, as Matt Walsh pointed out in his article on thedailywire.com, this is a form of child abuse. Let kids be kids. I mean, what's so wrong about that? NBC has reported that there's about 220 families, and the initial report on this came from NBC News, because they're all about the binary choice, and wants to push biological sex as meaningless. It's absolutely something that is rare right now, but in the future is going to be probably more common than we think. I mean, I've got a story in a little bit that I'll tell you about some very odd situations here in my local area. But for instance, they are going to keep their children who are, to them, are genderless, and they're going to be able to choose their gender when they're about 4 or 5. Well, currently, I can throw my skin in the game right here because I have a 3-year-old that's about to turn 4 next month. Under a month. He does whatever he wants. Sometimes he plays with his sister's Legos, okay? His sister's girly Legos. His sister's 8 years old, and she's about to be 9. Okay? He grabs himself. I mean, that's what boys do. I mean, that's what my oldest did, But we don't talk about that kind of stuff. If he's talking about his private area, we tell him to say it his private area. Or he says his pee-pee. I mean, that's normal to me. I would love to be a fly on the wall in this house whenever these parents are telling them, okay, go to the bathroom. I mean, what do you say? Don't touch your private area. I guess that's what they would say. You don't want to use a proper pronoun. They want to use proper terminology. But they're going to let their child, their twins, pick their gender when they're 4 or 5. Okay. My almost 4-year-old wants to eat cookies all day. So should I tell him that he's a cookie? He would, if I let him, he would drink juice, eat cookies, and sit on an electronic device his whole day if he could. But we don't let him. We make him go outside with his older siblings, his older brother, his older sister. I know it's kind of odd, but in my household, we do not use proper pronouns. Okay? We do not. And I understand that it might be offensive to some people, but we use boy, girl, man, woman. And that's okay. You know, it's not for everybody, and I understand that. But the thing that I want to get to, and this is, as Matt Walsh pointed out in his article, you could be in a low-income neighborhood, say you're in Chicago or something like that. My wife has made the comment to me, and she's sometimes paranoid, where I will spank my kid in public. I have no problem if they step out of line where it warrants where you need dad's hand on your behind. I have no hesitation to do that. But she gets kind of nervous because, like I'm saying, like Matt Walsh stated, is you could have CPS called on you for a spanking, but you're not having CPS called on you for your little social experiment on the children. I think it's wrong. I think it's absolutely wrong. And, for instance, we live in a small rural town here in Oregon, and my wife has taken our kids to school every day, you know, they all meet in the gym, grade levels, whatever. And my daughter and my son have grown up with a lot of the kids. I mean, you kind of know everybody in the area, you know. And, you know, AJ, big mouth, radio guy, and I can accept that. But there's some kids that wear a dress someday and wear boy clothes someday. Okay, it's not my place to judge, but it seems so weird to me because their daughter has a nickname that she wanted the teachers to call her because she wasn't responding. You needed to call her Meow Meow Kitty Cat. I'm not making this stuff up, okay? I am not making it up, and to me it's hilarious. The daughter refused to listen, and I can't remember what grade she was in with one of my kids, but that's what they told the preschool teacher, that she would only respond if you started calling her that, because they were talking with the parent that they were having issues with her not listening. I mean, you in Oregon, I know it's legal to smoke marijuana, but you couldn't make this stuff up if you paid somebody to. I mean, some of this stuff is absolutely asinine. So back to this genderless. My wife and I had a gender reveal party for our last child. We had all of our family. There was 2 people who knew what we were having. The radiologist and my wife's sister. Because she's the one that put all this together, got a box, got the colored balloons. This was our last child. I mean, we prayed on it. You know, we went through some difficulties to have this child, and he's been nothing but a blessing, even though sometimes you just want to wring his neck. Urgh! No, I'm kidding. But yeah, he is a boy also, by the way. But those were the only 2 that knew it because we wanted to celebrate with our family. We had all of our family around. I think we even had some friends. It's been almost 4 or 5 years ago. But to us, it was special to know what we were having. And whenever my wife was pregnant with each of our children, once we found out what gender they were, I talked to the baby in the stomach. I mean, hey, little girl, hey, little boy, can't wait till you're here, you know? I remember being deployed in the Navy and missing the birth of my son. Okay? And these people are doing these psychological, social experiments. Come on. I can think of 6,745 different things that I could be doing than worrying about this kind of nonsense that I know there's only 220. I think that's a low estimate. I'm sure there's more. And I'm not here to judge. Do whatever you want. It's your family. But something like this is absolutely child abuse. Okay? You're born. You're a boy or a girl. I mean, we talk about science deniers. These people are science deniers. Okay? Your chromosomes, 2X, 2Y, all that stuff. And yeah, I might be a little brash. I might be a little bombastic, but a little boisterous. That's who I am. I have to share this with you. It's from the Daily Wire. And this is a quote from the NBC. Once your child meets the outer world, which may be daycare or preschool or grandparents, it's pretty much impossible to maintain a gender-free state, end quote. One of the professors told NBC that. And quote, depending on how conventional your community is, you could be setting your child up for bullying or exclusion, end quote. The Theybies parents spoke to NBC, and they say they're okay with that because they prefer their child to be bullied than to be a bully, and they believe forcing a child into a gender is much more coercive than name-calling. Coerce a child into what gender they are given? Okay. What's up? I have to drink my Keystone Light. I have to for this. I mean, you can't even make this stuff up. It's absolutely... I don't know how many times I can say absolutely and crazy in one night. I mean, this wouldn't even be a funny sci-fi, a funny comedy, because it's just crazy. It's nuts. And then, so we go from the abuse, the child abuse with these babies, we go over to Baltimore, which you have to give Baltimore city officials a little bit of credit. They're doing something that not a lot of cities on the East Coast are doing. In fact, Baltimore is the first one in the East Coast and one of the biggest cities to put this forward. And I quote, Baltimore bans soda from kids' menus. We're going to stop the diabetes. We're going to stop it right there by banning it from kids' menus. Because 1 in 4 kids in Baltimore drink soda. I bet it's more than 1 in 4, okay? Baltimore has a high population of African Americans, which is fine. I grew up in a high population. Right now I live in a high population of pigment, white, gringo kids. And, you know, one of the things that I really think we could learn from Baltimore is they just put their mouth where their money is. And they are just going to change the world with this ban. It's fabulous. And how could you not be so proud of Baltimore for doing something like that? I mean, they are banning the even words of soda on their menus. Oh, man, I mean, the courage it must have took. The courage it took to stand up to those soda industries. Oh, man. But the menus will show milk, water, and they'll have 100% fruit juice options. Needless to say, this is just more of a feel-good kind of move. Nobody has forced any body to do this. But they didn't expect them to have it all done by last Wednesday. But they, sure enough, will start fining people $100 for not complying with the soda ban that they have. So yeah, in Baltimore, to recap, we are the first major city to ban soda from kids' menus. And the new measure went into effect last Wednesday, which would have been July 18th. While intended to keep kids and families from ordering sodas, parents would still be able to order sodas for their child if they chose to. Oh, how gracious of you to be able to allow the parents to order soda for their children. It must have really, really battled it out in the city council meeting to, we'll let their parents order soda, but they can't. What's the difference? I mean, jeez Louise. Well, here, let's do this. Let's go ahead. Let's take our first break of the evening. And on the flip side, we'll come back and we'll talk about some local stuff that's happening in Oregon. I can't wait to. You're listening to Common Sense Radio.
You're listening to the Lanterns Radio Network. We are the network dedicated to empowering the individual, illuminating the truth, defending American exceptionalism, and inspiring future generations. Stay connected and get involved at lanterns.buzz for great radio. Get commentary and news of the day. Lanterns.buzz.
In every rising of the sun, my purpose was to be thankful to be alive. I was even more thankful for the blessings that came with this life, specifically Virdis, my wife. But that came to an end when Aklavane and her minions violently took her away from me. So my new purpose in this life is to gather all the pieces of the Stone's Heart so I can defeat Aklavane and get back my bride. Join me as I travel to new worlds, making new friends and avoiding old enemies. Read more about my story in the first 2 books of the Stone's Heart series, which are now available on Amazon.com in Kindle format. The first book is The Quest for Savitvarda, and that is followed by The Heart of Pagaila. Stone's Heart is more than a fantasy and a sci-fi quest. It's me fighting to get back my precious wife, despite the overwhelming odds against me. Stone's Heart. Join, explore, and believe.
Welcome back to the program, folks. Hey, the Occupy ICE, or not, yeah, that's what they're calling it right now, but the you would really understand it more by saying the Abolish ICE crowd. Well, they've turned into Occupy ICE PDX. They are Occupy people that are camping outside of the Portland ICE headquarters. And there's a wonderful little food cart and coffee bar across the street. It's called a Happy Camper Food and Coffee Bar. It is a non-profit organization that all the proceeds that they make from that business goes to help the homeless, provide food, provide toothbrushes, toothpaste, different kind of you name it. All their proceeds go to help the homeless. I mean, how wonderful is that? Well, over a month, maybe, it's been going on that these people have been occupying the sidewalk, the street, outside of the ICE detention, or is it? No, it's the headquarters for the Portland area, because they all have regional locations. Well, the lady that was working there, a young lady that is the daughter of some of the owners that put all this together, and their whole mission was to kind of clean up the street and kind of help build the community and help others. And what they ended up running into was a situation where the daughter was, laughing and maybe joking around with someone that she knew. Well, one of the ICE protesters got on the bullhorn and started causing a ruckus and making it sound like she was laughing at them, which she wasn't, and she apologized. And they just kept harassing, taking video of her, coming over and just being a menace to society. And it got to the point where she felt her safety was endangered. So they had to shut it down. Because of these protesters. And the cart was owned and operated. It was at 0651 Southwest Bancroft Street, and it's just an outreach program. And over the last month, she was threatened, verbally attacked for not backing the immigration agenda of the anti-ICE crowd. She would serve food, serve coffee to some of the officers that worked for the Department of Homeland Security, and for her not backing or the organization supporting this mission of the Occupy ICE. They tried to stay neutral, and all they wanted to do was help their community. They were forced to shut down this last week because of safety concerns. They were continuously being harassed. They were continuously being followed, video camera, and bullied. They were intimidated by these protesters. It's insane to me. So I started doing a little research on this, and I found this is from the Congressional Hispanic Caucus, and they put a press release out July 13th, and maybe I should print some copies and run it down to these Occupy ICE crowd. And the Hispanic Caucus opposes bill to terminate ICE. Whoa, what? Yeah, the chair, Michelle Grisham, put this out and said simply terminating ICE's fails to address President Trump's underlying cruel immigration policies and priorities that target families and children. Any federal agency charged with conducting immigration enforcement, regardless of their name or place on an organizational chart, will continue to implement Trump's depraved immigration policy. ICE's focus on separating families undermines national and border security by diverting resources from its necessary and legitimate responsibilities to combat, like I've told you, human trafficking, cybercrimes, child exploitation, money launderers, and terrorist threats. The CHC is committed to holding ICE accountable and will continue to work tirelessly to reunite and protect separated families and pass legislation to permanently protect dreamers. Yeah. So like I told you here a few weeks ago, what ICE's main intentions to do. Their main intention is not to separate families. They want to combat human trafficking, child exploitations, terrorist attacks, and money laundering. I mean, that's why they were starting to do the DNA test down at the border. I mean, maybe we should send some cameras down there. Let's go see what's actually happening. The Congressional Hispanic Caucus does not want to disable ICE. I mean, nobody should want to. Are there some rogue agents? There's rogue agents in everything. There's rogue police officers. There's rogue broom pushers. There's bad apples in every bunch of apples. But the thing that I'm kind of putting this all together, because I found this recently, and I'm going, okay. So the Congress member, there's some like Christine Gillibrand that, reimagine ICE. You've got the Bernie Sanders going, yeah, I want to get rid of all of them, but I want to control all your lives. Beg your pardon. Excuse me. The thing that just drives me bananas is honesty is something in DC that is not something that people practice. I mean, why are you coming up with these ridiculous reimagine, abolish ICE? These so-called hashtag warriors, the social justice warriors who are just pushing this and creating havoc. I mean, look, shut down a non-profit organization that is helping homeless people in the area to get a leg up. I mean, it has to stop. And it has to stop by not tweeting, by not commenting on these Facebook pages, and just ignore it. It will go away. I mean, look what everyone did with that hog kid down in Florida. He kept, for 2 weeks, he tries to become relevant. These ICE demonstrations they're kind of fizzling out, but I couldn't camp outside somewhere for a month. I have a job. I have to go provide for my 3 kids and my wife. Okay? I can't camp outside ICE. I mean, these people have nothing that's going on in their life. Sorry, I have way too much stuff to worry about and care about. So, after we go from those criminals, we go to New York City, where soon-to-be presidential candidate Andrew Cuomo, governor of New York, it's not official, but we can see over the last 6 months what he's positioning himself. I mean, and maybe I'm wrong. I've known to been wrong. I mean, look at with Trump and Kavanaugh over Barrett. I've known to been wrong. It's not often, but it happens. And this is from the New York Daily News, which is not a right-leaning site. It's just New York Daily News garbage. Anyways, they actually did some reporting here where dozens of convicted sexual predators deemed too dangerous to be returned to the community after their release from prison are among the thousands who received conditional pardons from Governor Cuomo, giving them the right to vote, the Daily News has learned. And he pardoned 24,000 parolees in the first round of conditional pardons. And so far, what they were able to figure out was 77 of the list of 24,000 is littered with convicted pedophiles, rapists, and other violent sexual abusers. And one that was interesting that I wanted you to hear about was Hector Avils, 61, who was known as the, quote, voodoo rapist, end quote. So, voodoo rapists, why are we letting him out? Why are we letting any of these people that commit these kind of crimes? Those people should stay locked up for the rest of their lives. That's my opinion. I mean, those kind of crimes are egregious. They're disgusting, and the people should be castrated on that. That's my personal opinion. Now, is that morally right? Probably not. But I mean, there's things you just don't do in a civilized nation. And children, you don't hurt. You don't hurt women. It's revolting. Anyways, what Hector liked to do was he was convicted of a second-degree rape in Westchester County in 2008 after telling 3 of his victims, the oldest of whom were 16, that if they participated in his sexual, quote, ritual, end quote, with him, he could help them with their problems. If they didn't, he said, bad things would happen to them and their families. The voodoo rapist. We're releasing someone like that. We're letting someone back out that could get in a car, drive all over New York, and drive out of the state so he could vote. I don't have the answers, but I think it's conversations with people like Riaz Patel, people like me, like Ben Shapiro, different people that can sit in these settings and talk about real justice reform. That is not justice reform. Criminal justice reform is not putting a rapist that, quote, the voodoo rapist, end quote. There's nothing you could ever say about someone like that to me, or if I was on the parole board, that would let them out of prison. Never. There just is not anything. I mean, you tell me one thing that you can even think on the tip of your tongue. Okay, well, maybe he's, for the last 5 to 10 years, he's read his Bible, he's been going to church. Wonderful. That's good. I hope the Lord is blessing that person and he's given another chance by God to repent of his sins. But I don't think they should be allowed back out in society. I think they should stay in those center block rooms and they shouldn't be allowed out. Amazing. And then just from New York, we'll take a quick jump up to Toronto. In Toronto, over the weekend, a shooter murdered an 18-year-old girl and a 10-year-old girl while wounding 13 others. And the Toronto mayor, John Tory, addressed the city council in the wake of this deadly shooting and said, why does anyone in this city need to have a gun at all? Well, John, to eliminate that threat. That is one reason why you need a gun. You need to have, and that's why you're in Canada, you wouldn't understand the greatest document that was ever written. I mean, but you can find it online. Maybe we should do a fundraiser to send him a pocket constitution. The Second Amendment, do not infringe on my right to bear arms. We need to send him a clear message of maybe we could if you're on Twitter and you find you have the chance, open up another web browser and find good guys who stop crimes with guns, tweet them out to the mayor of Toronto. I'm sure he would love those. Why not? The only way to get this craziness out of people's minds of why do people need guns is to send them stories, to shoot video, for them to see firsthand what people are experience on a day-to-day basis. Whenever, I mean, you saw the video circulating Facebook. I mean, everybody had to, or Twitter, or all over the interwebs. There's two ladies in a kitchen or cooking, and this guy just comes in and they're staggered back, and the guy just wails on this lady, just hits her as hard as he can, right in the face while she's cooking, and she just doesn't know what to do, and he's going for the other lady. She pulls out her pistol, and she is probably relieved at that moment, and she just puts it right in his face, and he backs down, and he leaves, because that's all you can do. That is absolutely all you can do. You have to send those kind of stories to our little friend in Toronto, because that's all you can do. It's absolutely grotesque that anyone would say something like, why does anyone in this city need to have a gun at all? Well, it's to protect them. That's why, John. That's why. It's absolutely there to protect them. And if you don't like that, guess what? Too bad. In other news, California Power Grid urges customers to conserve energy and heat wave. Reuters is reporting that California's power grid operator Monday issued an alert to homes and businesses to conserve electricity on Tuesday and Wednesday when a heat wave is expected to blanket the state. So turn everything off but the air condition. Leave that on. I mean, we've got to upgrade our power grids. That's number one. We have to protect them more. And you know, President Trump talked the talk during the campaign, and we need to be holding his feet to the fire. Well, you know, another week in the books. I'm glad to be here with you guys. One thing, look for, you know, for the future of here of Common Sense Radio. Lot of things working behind the scenes. A lot stuff is coming to fruition right now. But do me a favor, go over, check out my fellow Lanterneers like Dylan and Steven, Defenders of American Exceptionalism, Watson Prunier, Matt Holloway, Blake Johnson. I mean, those are good people that are, you know, grassroots people that are spreading the message of liberty, spreading the message of freedom, spreading the love of this country for you. So go on iTunes, look up Lanterns, and do us a favor. Leave us a review. Talk to us via our social media platforms, and please do engage with us. We love it. We love it. I mean, I've engaged with so many more people weekly as I'm putting out these videos via Facebook. Please do. Anyways, I want you to have a great week. We'll see you back here next Monday. God bless. God bless the United States of America. Later.
You're listening to the Lanterns Radio Network. We are the network dedicated to empowering the individual, illuminating the truth, defending American exceptionalism, and inspiring future generations. Stay connected and get involved at lanterns.buzz. For great radio, get commentary and news of the day. Lanterns.buzz.